one choke point, one threat, and the entire global economy on edge. Iran has announced it will close the Strait of Hormuz, citing violations by the US and Israel. This escalation could have far-reaching consequences. Here's everything you need to know. Looking ahead, the critical question is whether Iran will follow through on its threat to close the Strait of Hormuz or use it as a bargaining chip in negotiations. The strait is a vital waterway, responsible for roughly one-fifth of the world's oil supply, making any disruption a significant global concern. Historically, Iran has leveraged its control over this strategic choke point to exert influence and negotiate from a position of strength. If Iran enforces the closure, immediate diplomatic pressure from the United States and regional powers is expected, with emergency meetings and urgent discussions aimed at de-escalating tensions likely to occur. The U.S. has a vested interest in ensuring the free flow of oil, as any disruption could lead to military responses and heightened conflict in an already volatile region. Oil and freight prices would react swiftly to any disruptions, causing volatility in the markets that could ripple through the global economy. This potential economic fallout could exacerbate inflationary pressures already felt in many countries. Alternatively, if the ceasefire manages to hold, attention will shift towards whether the 60-day timeline will yield a substantial agreement or if it will collapse under the weight of ongoing proxy conflicts and mutual distrust. Experts suggest that unless there is a significant change in military engagements in the region, the likelihood of a durable peace remains low. The complex web of alliances and rivalries complicates the situation further, with various stakeholders pursuing their interests. In the coming days, observers should watch for any statements from Iranian officials regarding the strait's status, as well as the response from U.S. and Israeli leadership. Ultimately, the next few weeks will be crucial in determining whether Iran's threats will reshape regional power dynamics or serve merely as a tactic to gain leverage in future negotiations. To understand the current crisis, we must look at the recent history leading up to today's dramatic events. The backdrop features a U.S.-brokered Memorandum of Understanding aimed at ending years of conflict with Iran, which sought to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, ease sanctions, and relaunch nuclear negotiations over a 60-day timeline. However, this process has been anything but smooth. Even after the announcement of the ceasefire, Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon continued, with reports indicating that these actions were undermining the fragile agreement. U.S. intelligence agencies expressed concerns that these strikes could jeopardize the tenuous peace deal aimed at stabilizing the region. The continued military exchanges have fostered an environment of mistrust and uncertainty, making the prospect of lasting peace increasingly precarious. This situation is deeply rooted in decades of geopolitical tension, where unresolved historical grievances have fueled animosities among nations in the Middle East. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for global oil shipments, has become a focal point in this conflict, with Iran asserting its influence as a regional power. The complex interplay of military action, diplomatic efforts, and regional politics has led to today's situation where Iran feels compelled to assert control over this critical maritime passage, raising the stakes for all involved. The implications of these developments extend beyond the immediate region, potentially affecting global oil prices and international relations. As tensions escalate, the risk of miscalculation grows, posing a threat to economic stability worldwide. Looking ahead, diplomatic efforts will need to intensify, with all parties recognizing the urgent need for dialogue. The upcoming weeks will be crucial in determining whether a sustainable resolution can be reached, or if the situation will spiral further into conflict, impacting millions in the region and beyond. The Strait of Hormuz has emerged as a critical focal point in the ongoing tensions between Iran and Western nations, particularly regarding maritime security and energy supply. This narrow waterway, stretching just 21 miles at its narrowest point, is a key transit route for oil tankers. Approximately 20% of the world's oil supply traverses this vital passage, underscoring its importance to global energy markets. Iran's recent announcement regarding a potential closure of the strait has sent shockwaves through the international community, raising alarms about the stability of energy supplies. Historically, the Strait of Hormuz has been the center of geopolitical friction, with past incidents involving military confrontations and threats to shipping lanes. The current announcement from Iran comes amid heightened tensions, particularly following the United States' sanctions and military presence in the region. Iran's ability to control this passage poses a significant challenge to global economies that rely heavily on oil imports. The implications of a closure could be immediate and severe, as oil prices are already reacting to the uncertainty. If Iran enforces this closure, we could witness a dramatic surge in global oil prices. Analysts predict that Brent crude oil prices might increase by 10 to 15% if shipping is halted, which would have far-reaching consequences. Higher oil prices typically lead to increased costs for transportation and goods, exacerbating inflationary pressures that many economies are already grappling with. This scenario could lead to a significant increase in consumer prices, affecting everything from fuel to everyday goods and services. Moreover, the closure would disrupt commercial shipping flows, complicating the delivery of essential commodities and goods on a global scale. Such disruptions could ripple through supply chains, leading to delays and shortages that impact businesses and consumers alike. The average person should care about this situation because it directly threatens economic stability and energy security. Looking ahead, the international community must navigate this precarious situation with caution. Diplomatic efforts will be crucial in preventing escalation and ensuring the free flow of trade through the Strait of Hormuz. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether tensions escalate further or if a resolution can be achieved, impacting economies worldwide. On June 21, 2026, Iran's military declared a significant escalation in regional tensions by announcing the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical maritime route for global oil transportation. This announcement came after Iran accused the United States and Israel of violating a fragile ceasefire agreement. The statement was made public by Iran's top joint military command at 9 a.m. local time, asserting that all vessel traffic would be halted unless the alleged violations ceased. This bold move underscores a dire warning from Iran amid ongoing military operations in Lebanon and Gaza, where clashes continue to claim lives. The Iranian leadership also reacted to U.S. President Donald Trump's recent tweet, which suggested that no tolls would be charged for vessels passing through the strait during a 60-day interim ceasefire. This development is shocking not just for its immediate implications, but also because it signals a notable shift in Iran's strategy amidst a tenuous peace process. Historically, the Strait of Hormuz has been a vital artery for oil exports and global trade, with approximately 20% of the world's oil passing through its waters. The threat of closure raises concerns over supply chain disruptions and skyrocketing oil prices, which could have ripple effects on global markets. Moreover, this escalation takes place against the backdrop of a newly brokered U.S. ceasefire aimed at stabilizing the region, making the threat of closure feel more urgent. The Iranian military's posture raises alarm bells for both regional allies and global economic stakeholders who rely heavily on the uninterrupted flow of oil. As the situation unfolds, the potential for increased military engagement looms large. The geopolitical landscape in the Middle East is already fraught with tension, and any further escalation could lead to a broader conflict. Analysts warn that if Iran follows through on its threat, it may provoke a swift response from the U.S. and its allies, escalating the situation even further. In the coming days, attention will be focused on diplomatic efforts to de-escalate tensions and ensure the safety of maritime navigation through this critical choke point. The international community must act swiftly to prevent a crisis that could have devastating global repercussions. As we consider the potential outcomes of this escalating situation, what do you think will happen next in the Strait of Hormuz? Share your predictions in the comments and be sure to subscribe for more in-depth analyses.